Welcome to our video about growing dandelion greens. I'm Brittany of Sun and Soil Farm, and there's a lot to cover, so let's just jump right in. So we aren't growing the type of dandelion green that you see in your yard. We're growing something that's related. It's also in the daisy family. It's an Italian dandelion green. So they're both in the daisy family. However, it's a chicory type of green. So instead of producing a yellow flower, if you were gonna let it grow out to seed, it would actually have a blue flower, just like wild chicory does. We get our seeds from Johnny Seeds, and we have tried 3 different types of dandelion greens over the years. We have tried Catalogna Special, Italico Red, and Clio. Clio's the only one we grow now. It's our favorite one. It has the best yield. It just grows really well for us. We did like the Italico Red. They're really pretty. They just didn't produce as much foliage as the Clio, and they seem to grow a little bit slower, so we just stopped growing those. The Clio works really well for us. Let's go over seed starting. So our favorite tray to use for dandelions is the Bootstrap 128s, or any type of 128 tray. So for a 25-foot bed, we need 200 seedlings. So we always start 2 128s. And in the spring, we start them 6 to 7 weeks ahead of when they're gonna get planted out. And in the fall, we start them 5 weeks ahead of when they're gonna get planted out. And our target dates for planting in the spring is March 5th, and in the fall is August 20th. Let's talk about growing the dandelion greens. So for our bed prep, we use our broad fork on the bed. Then we add our fertilizer, and for us, where we're at, based on our soil test and just our growing information, I'm not saying that this is what you should use where you're at, but we use, for a 25-foot bed, we use 1 pound of Harmony, 1 pound of nitrogen. So in the spring, that would be blood meal, and in the fall, we use feather meal. We use 2/3 a pound of alfalfa meal, 2/3 a pound of sunflower whole ash, a 1/2 pound of fish bone meal, a 1/4 pound of kelp meal, and a 1/4 pound of humic acid. We will also add 1 or 2 5-gallon buckets of compost, just depending on how much we have on hand and how the bed is looking. Sometimes it needs more, sometimes it needs less. So we'll add the fertilizer and compost, we'll sprinkle it on top of the bed, and then we'll rake it in. The bed's ready to plant. For our dandelion greens, we do 4 rows per bed at a 6-inch spacing. So for a 25-foot bed, it's 200 dandelion plants. As far as pest pressure goes, we haven't had any issues with insects really. The biggest pests we have on them are voles. They love to eat them, and they eat a lot of our dandelion greens. Frost protection, dandelion greens are good down to 20 degrees, but we do cover them. It's going to be below 32 degrees with Agribon 30. As far as how quickly they yield, so for Clio, it's 48 days to maturity. We start harvesting them after they've been in the ground for 5 weeks. So for like bed flipping, in the spring, we leave them in the ground for 10 weeks. So it's a total of 15 weeks in the ground. And in the fall, we leave them in for 12 weeks. So it's a total of 17 weeks in the ground. And of course, that's just for the cut and come back style of production. If you're just gonna, plant them and cut them out, you could do it in 5 or 6 weeks per bed flip.
Okay, for a bunch of dandelion greens, I'll just start with 1 plant, really sharp knife, cut it off like that, and I'll just throw out any bad leaves. There's not really any bad ones on there. And that's pretty small, especially compared to like the spring. This is kind of normal for the fall, so I'll cut 2 of them usually. Grab another one, throw out any bad leaves, and then that looks like a pretty good amount. So I'll just bunch them with a rubber band, cut off the ends, and then throw it in our bin.
Each week we harvest 12 bunches of dandelion greens to take to the farmer's market. So these are the ones we cut last week. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and then a month ago. So with about 200 plants in a 25-foot bed, this will be enough for us to sell through each week. After we have harvested dandelion greens, we bring them over to our sink. We fill it up with water and we add the dandelions into it for 20 minutes. This gets the filled heat off of the dandelion greens and then also allows the dandelions to soak up all of the water so that they stay crisper for longer, especially when they're out at the farmer's market. They stay looking better longer on our stand, and it also gives them a better shelf life for our customers. For us, dandelion greens are a very profitable crop to grow. We sell each bunch of dandelion greens at the farmer's market for $3, and if we're going to wholesale them to the food co-op, we sell them for $2 per bunch. On average, our dandelion greens always give us more than $10 per bed foot. Okay, so that's all about Italian dandelion greens. So to summarize, they're super easy, low maintenance. You can fit a lot of them in a bed. They have little pest pressure, they grow really fast, and you can do cut and come again. So why grow them? They add a different item to your table. Not a lot of other people grow them. And they're super nutritious, so they're really good for health conscious customers. So if you're looking for something new to grow on your farm or in your garden, you should definitely consider growing Italian dandelion greens. If you have any more questions about growing them, we'd be happy to answer them however we can in the comments. And then also, if you've grown Italian dandelion greens before and have any other thoughts, opinions about them, please leave them in the comments. All right, and thank you guys for watching.